Okay, welcome back everyone. Welcome to a new trading week. This is Jeff here with FXMindshift and welcome to your Sunday weekly review. So checking out the calendar this week, you'll notice that we are now starting a brand spanking new month, right? So November is now behind us. We're into the month of December. And because it is the first week of the month, on Friday, we have non-farm employment change, right? So we've got NFP on Friday, we've got the average hourly earnings, the unemployment rate, but the rest of the week we also have some red folders, spread throughout. So we've got Monday, we've got ISM manufacturing PMI. Tuesday, we've got JOLTS job openings. Wednesday, we've got a GBP speech. We have the preliminary non-farm at 8:15 in the morning. We have ISM services PMI at 10 a.m. And we also have a Fed Chair Powell speech at 1:45 p.m. on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got our normal unemployment claims, and then we have, of course, non-farm on Friday. So this is obviously going to be where we're expecting the most volatility for the week, NFP on Friday. So we'll see what happens with that. And every week, every time we have NFP, it's interesting to see what the moves do. So let's take a look at our charts. We're going to go over to our DXY chart, and we're going to head over to the monthly top down as we always do. So if you take a look at the monthly chart right now, you can see that we have broken out, or we attempted to break out of our little consolidation here, right? So the last thing that we did prior to this move up here, we had taken out the internal liquidity below this low right here. We respected the wick and the rejection, and price started to move up towards this monthly imbalance area here. And so we're looking for price basically to trade up into the monthly imbalance. And as you can see, we did that very nicely. And traded up into that, took out the high over here, right? And then we saw a nice rejection after price went up and traded up into that. So we got as high as 108, big figure, before we saw price come back down and retrace, right? So on the weekly, we can see here after we took out the high, there was the swing high that was formed. So let's drop over to the weekly markups here, because that was a break of structure, right? So we took out the high there, and then now you can see price is retracing back into the range. So I would expect price to continue to come down and fill in the rest of the imbalance that's being formed here, and then maybe make a run even for the low here, or at least come back further down into this range, right? So looking to see continued bearishness for the dollar going into the week. Let's go to the daily, right? And as you can see, daily has put in a nice high over here. We've also put in a change of character, basically breaking below the last swing low that we made that created the high over here, right? So, and then price also gapped lower and continues to go. We ended off the week bearish, right? So coming back down to fill in the imbalance over here, trading into the big daily OB over here, right? This will be the target to trade down into this week for DXY. So looking for around 105 big figure, right? Either 105 mid figure or 105 big figure. 105 is the target, and we'll see if price will continue down, rolling down to that number, okay? On the 4 hour, we can see that, basically more of the same, but confirmation, with the 4 hour break of structure. Okay. We had the, false move week beginning up to the top here. We had the failure swing, right? So we saw price attempt to go higher, but fail, and then create the swing high. And then this is the subsequent drop, that happened afterwards, which gave us the price came up, and retested, and then came back down. And now we're looking for the continuation down to these levels, over here. Okay, so we'll look back to mitigate the H4 high, H4 swing high that we made over there, and while doing so, coming in to trade into that higher time frame POI we had, right? So pretty straightforward here on the dollar. Let's go over to Euro USD. If we look at the monthly chart on Euro USD, we can see the same pretty much inverse flip of what we saw on the dollar just a little bit ago. So we had the consolidation here. We broke out of the consolidation and traded down into a monthly imbalance, and taking out the internal low in the process, right? So we had the consolidation, came down, swept the lows, traded into the imbalance, and then we saw price reject back to the upside, retracing back into the range, right? So on the weekly chart, okay, you can see that we have a 3-bar swing formation after taking out the internal low over here. That is going to be a weekly structure break, right? And now we can see the 3-bar swing as we trade back up into the range. We closed back with a bullish candle inside the range, right? And so now I'm looking for price to now retrace back up into the imbalance here, and then potentially maybe trade back into this weekly OB area. And then we can see if we react or go further from there, but certainly looking to trade into here. Initially, that is going to be just above the 106 big figure. If we fill the imbalance, we'll get up to about 106.80. And then if we trade up into the imbalance and the OB up here, we're going to be going back up into the 108 region and thereabouts, right? So that is the weekly. Dropping down to a daily. Right, so what we can see is we have a swing low that is formed, and price has retraced back up to this high here, okay, but we have not broken the high, so it could continue down from here. We could just see price drop, right? So we respect the range high that we've made here and see price kind of roll over at the start of the week. We could see price just continue in the bearish momentum in the downswing. But if we do trade above the high here, okay, so let's say we get above this level, then I would expect, as I said earlier on the higher time frame charts, to see price continue up into the imbalance over here, and then eventually also into the OB and imbalance up to the top of the range up here, right? And see if we get a reaction and then a move down after that. Okay, so a couple of scenarios we can watch for, but it all depends on whether or not we hold the swing high that we have here at the start of the week, and we see if that kind of plays out for us. Obviously throughout to Friday, which is NFP, which will certainly give us, a clue as to what it's going to be doing after that, right? But that is the daily. Let's drop down to the 4-hour, okay? And as you can see from the 4-hour, we also have basically confirmation of the swing low. We had a gap up, right, early in the week here, and then we saw price continue after trading back and filling the gap, continuing to the upside. So, if we do see price now continue through and break this high, then, like I said, we should see price continue up towards the higher time frame POIs, the imbalances above, and trading back to the OB imbalance up here in the 108 big figure region. Okay, so that is for EU, and let's draw on over to GU next. So what you'll notice is that GU is going to show slightly different characteristics where we would expect GU to kind of correlate with EU. But in this regard here, you can see that we have a monthly rejection from the monthly OB, right? So if you remember, on EU, we saw price come down and actually sweep internal lows, right? And then trade into a monthly imbalance, right? So let's go back to the monthly chart so you can see what I mean. Right, so you can see here we came down, we took out this low, and we made a lower low, right? And we came back up. For GU, you can see that we made a higher low. So we actually have a little bit of fractional disparity, some correlation divergence here, right? So it's a bullish divergence. So, the implication is that GU is expected to go higher, and, this is a stop hunt, and EU will also continue to go higher since we've already taken liquidity and traded into a nice higher time frame POI. Okay, so we'll see if that's the case this week, but that is what this is implying right now, or what it looks like, because GU was unable to trade lower and create that lower low here, but we did hold the OB. You notice that GU has basically held this uptrend, right? And I said that last week that we did not actually break lower, and GU is actually holding the bullish OB here and the swing low. So if we come down here to this level, we could see price basically reject from the OB and create the next higher low. And that certainly looks like what's happening here. So if we go to the weekly chart, right, we'll also see evidence of bullishness, whereas the weekly traded down into the weekly OB here, and then we can see a very nice 3-bar rejection and the big bullish candle that we ended off the last week, right, and creating that kind of 3-bar swing low. So at the very least, I would expect price to trade back into this weekly imbalance up here, right? It's just above. And to fill completely, we'll be looking at a price of around 128.30, right? So above the 128 big figure, right? So that's really, all I can ask for right now for GU is I would see if price wants to get up to 128 this week going forward, right? So on the daily chart, kind of corroborate that with daily price action and structure. So you'll notice that we got the daily change of character after putting in the low, okay? And we see a big push to the upside that creates this internal break of structure and gives us the change of character. So trading back into this imbalance here seems very likely, right? And so like I said, at the fill, at the top of the fill here, we could look and see price trade above the 128 big figure. We could even see 128 mid figure here, but definitely above 128 is what I'll be targeting and looking for GU this week. All right, on the 4 hour, it's going to be more of the same. Okay, so we can see on the 4 hour we have a nice break of structure to the upside. After putting in the low, we have a gap just like we did on EU, which we filled at the initially in the beginning of the week, and then we continued to roll higher, right? And this is gap protocol. We'd expect this from a gap is when we come up, we fill in the gap, and then we would move, in the direction or continue moving in the direction of the gap. That's to be expected. So we've seen that. We also see the break of structure, and now we've got these areas up here that we can trade up into as targets. This high right here is going to be the first, low-hanging fruit target that we'll look for here is 127.70 or thereabouts, right? Right back into this imbalance here. All right. Next, let's roll on over to gold. Okay, from a monthly standpoint, gold has been very bullish, right? And we did get a little retracement this past week, right? And we see that the month of November has closed bearish. So we could be seeing price putting in a high here and reversing, right? However, it is still a little too early to tell. We can see that price has traded into this monthly imbalance here, and we have a very nice rejection back to the upside. So there could be, another run higher here, right? Hasn't really given us much to go on the monthly chart just yet, but we certainly did get a nice retracement after putting in this high, right? Let's go to the weekly. So from the weekly, you can see here that we traded down into the weekly OB and imbalance, rejected that, and then put in this very large bullish engulfing candle, okay? The rejection, we came down about halfway, right? And you can see the rejection back to the upside. So, there's a very good chance that price, continues to go higher from here. From my standpoint, the way it looks to me is that we are back bullish again, okay? The retracement here, if, price obviously holds the swing low down here, then I'm going to be expecting price to put in a new high, right? And, from the information that I see here, that looks likely for right now. If we drop down to a daily, all right, we can see a little bit more confirmation of that because you can see that price on this big, basically this big down push, we created the swing low here. We took liquidity below the swing here and also below the swing here and traded into this nice daily imbalance, right? And the reaction was very swift and very strong, right? And we also saw price come up and take out an internal high and trade back into this imbalance, right? And so obviously the reaction was also very big on the way down, but it wasn't as big as the first initial reaction, and it certainly didn't counter the big bullish push that we made on the way up, trading from here. So you can see prices already started to roll back to the upside here. We traded back into this imbalance, the fresh one from the push up, okay? And now it is continuing to roll higher. So I would still assume price wants to be bullish, and I would still assume price will continue to go higher. Maybe up until, the top of the range here. But as you can see, the 4 hour is still putting in higher highs and higher lows. This last push up here was pretty strong. We took out this internal high. All right, so I'm going to be watching for price to essentially hold the last kind of internal swing low that we made over here, right? So this OB imbalance area here, right, that we're trading into, or just at the top of it right now. Would like to see if price will want to create a low here and then continue higher, right? And I don't know if we're gonna run the high or not, but at the very least, we'd expect price to continue up into the premium areas up here because we have an imbalance and an OB at the top. We also have a little imbalance here as well. So those are all areas we could draw to, on the way up. Okay, so that's what I'd be expecting here from gold this week. And then last but not least, we have NASDAQ, right? And NASDAQ also, if we look at the monthly perspective, sorry, that was a daily chart there. So NASDAQ on the monthly, as you can see, is, we haven't put in a definitive high yet, right? It's still continuing to climb higher, and it certainly could go and continue to climb higher, right? But so far right now, you can see that we're up here at this high. We don't have a big retracement yet. The last retracement we did came back into this monthly OB, and that's what created the current high that we have right now. Okay, so that's really all we have to go on the monthly chart. If we drop down to the weekly, okay, we can see that there is some semblance of a high that is being put in, right? We did take out this previous high here. We did get a reaction from that level, but we did not create any kind of change of character or any kind of, swing low that was broken. So this could still certainly climb higher. We did trade back into this weekly OB here, and you can see the reaction is still pretty strong. So I don't think this is ready to slow down just yet. I think that we are still bullish here, but if we drop down to the daily, we might see some evidence of, a possibility of a reversal. All right, so you can see here we came up, we took out this daily high with a very large imbalance and a push, right? We get price coming up here. And what's significant about this is that we took out these highs, okay, over to the left here. So this could very well be where we see price reject and trade lower. However, when we came down here to the imbalance fill, we pretty much filled the imbalance the whole way, almost like 90-95% filled. And then from there, we saw price actually turn around and go back to the upside. Okay, so you can see we have a low put in place here, and it looks like price is just ready to go up and continue to roll higher, right? Unless there is a very strong rejection that happens here this week, okay, this area is pretty much our last area of defense if we are going to actually get a reversal or some kind of bearish move. But for right now, the order flow is just too strong in the bullish direction. I would still continue to look for setups, to run the highs. Okay, so if we go to the 4-hour chart, I can show you what I mean. Basically, the last retracement here, you can see each time we've come down, we've made a new higher low and a new higher high, right? And so obviously structure is telling us right now that we're still very much bullish. And this last push that we did on the last day here on Friday is indicative that price is not slowing down. The momentum is still going to the upside. So I'm going to be looking for price to run out this high over here, right? That's going to be the next target. And then eventually we'll see if we continue up to run out the bigger structure above all the way over here as well. Okay, so bullish order flow continuation on NASDAQ, and we'll see what happens on Friday with NFP as well. That might be a monkey wrench in the works or a change in direction. So that's going to do it for me, guys, this week. If you guys have any questions, any comments, feel free to drop them below in the comments section below. I have a very special class presentation that I'm going to be doing for you guys next Sunday. There will be a link in the description below the video if you take a look to register for that webinar. We are doing some incredible things right now in the group with futures trading. If you guys are interested in learning how to trade futures, how you can make a consistent income every month with trading futures, I have a very special class that I'll be holding next Sunday for everyone. It's free to the public. Okay, there's a registration link. Put your name and email below. Register for the class, and you guys can get access to the link to join us live on Sunday. All right. If you guys can't make the live class, it'll be Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. All right. But if you can't make the live class, there will be a recording. But if you join live, you'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to interact with me. And anything that, that you don't understand or anything like that, you can ask right there in the class. All right. Obviously, you can also, catch the recording if you can't make it live. But you certainly have to register below. Put your name and email in the link below. Then you can get also access to the recording when that's available and when I put that out. All right. So if you guys are interested in that, go ahead and sign up. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this week and this video. That's the rundown for me. So, if you have any questions on anything I covered today, let me know. Good luck with the trades this week. This month, is December, and I know we're winding down the rest of the end of the year here for 2024 and into 25. So, just be cautious out there because this is the time of year where things start to slow down. The trading conditions are less than ideal. Things start to chop around, and you don't really get very favorable, trading conditions around the holidays. So, just trade carefully. Obviously, you can lower your risk, and you can also be a little bit more selective with your setups. But certainly, this is a time to be, trading more cautiously than being aggressive. All right. So that's going to do it for me, guys. Good luck with your trades this week. We'll see you guys on the webinar on Sunday. Register for the link below, and that's going to do it. Take care.
Feel me.